Hello. I know I haven't been uploading in a long time. Because of that, my reason is because I am not bothered. And my second reason is that I am uploading now is because I want to talk about this topic. It has been searching on the internet and it has been triggering me a lot. And that topic is, are all Sonic games bad? Just to say a franchise is bad just because of like maybe 2 to 3 games that are, you can classify it as bad or even worse, trash, and then go ahead and generalize the whole franchise as a bad franchise. It's just preposterous. It's like having a basket of apples. 1 or 2 apples are rotten. Doesn't mean all of the rest of the apples aren't rotten. And that's a stereotype about quote unquote the Sonic franchise. Other thing that people say about the Sonic franchise is that it's dead. I remember when I was kid, everything Sonic. Okay, the fact of the matter is, Sonic is still and well and will never die. Sonic has been in our childhood and our adulthood, and until I die, I will know Sonic, because Sonic has influenced millions of lives. Imagine just from this one small blue hedgehog that wanted to reach the top. Even though it had some ups and downs, it still managed to persevere through them all. Okay, I just want to get that out. I'm not Prince EA. I'll get you all motivated. Excuse me. Okay, so in this video, I will try to defend the Sonic franchise. And okay, I can see you typing, but Sonic 06 is a bad game. Okay, Sonic 06 is a bad game. I admit that. But that doesn't mean the whole franchise is a bad franchise. Let me explain, okay? And here we are, late 80s, early 90s. Nintendo was literally dominating the video game market, and some company had to put a stop to Nintendo. Someone had to put a stop to the powerhouse, which is Nintendo. And that company is Sega. And how did they do that, you may be asking? Well, I think it's obvious. In 1991, the release of Sonic the Hedgehog, the gaming market went crazy. It literally crashed. No pun intended. If you get that, congrats, I think. Moving aside from the cringy puns, Sega literally boomed at that moment. Nintendo didn't expect it. The gamers didn't expect it. Nobody expected this. And how did Sega succeed, or how did Sega manage to sell that many Sonic games, or that many Sega Genesis? Okay. Anyway, they had a smart business plan. They wanted to promote Sonic as this cool slash edgy characters geared towards the more bad boys. Unlike Mario, which is like cool, kid friendly, oh, you can play with your dad, sort of stuff. But Sonic is that fast, cool, edgy character that any kid would love and enjoy in a way. Point that if you didn't own a Sega Genesis in some areas, you weren't considered one of the cool kids in school. You were considered an outcast. A lonely outcast who would be lonely for life and never get married, and when he dies, nobody will show up to his funeral. You know why? He didn't have a Sega Genesis. He simply just didn't have a Sega Genesis. So every kid on Christmas Day wanted a Sega Genesis. And what happened to Sega? They bundled up Sonic the Hedgehog with the Sega Genesis. And oh boy, that business plan worked. And it worked so well for Sega. to the point they were at the level, the literal level at where Nintendo, the powerhouse of the gaming market, were at. Can you imagine this? The story of the underdog. The story of the underdog company. And this is my theory. If Sega the company, didn't try to rival Nintendo, you wouldn't have seen the likes of Sony, Xbox trying to compete with Nintendo, because at that point Nintendo was just growing larger. They would probably be the only video game video game producer or distributor that would exist in the gaming market, at least the main one that everybody would expect. So you should thank Sega. Okay, now let's talk about the game themselves. I know you've been waiting for this. The first game, the first iteration of the franchise was a success. The level design was great at the time. Correct myself, at the time it was great. The soundtrack was phenomenal, to the point where some of the soundtracks, for instance, the first act of Green Hill Zone, is still remembered to this day vividly by many Sonic and non-Sonic fans. And of course, with every successful game, there should be a sequel. And what is the sequel, you may be asking? Well, the sequel is Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which introduces many cool mechanics. One of the coolest mechanics, which is a staple in the Sonic franchise to this day, which is the spin dash. The spin dash is what Sonic is most known for. If you don't want to spin dash, is where Sonic turns into a ball and whew, he rolls at the speed of sound. And it is the game where, of course, your sidekick / buddy Tails is being introduced with your player 2 brother. If you have a big brother, you would understand. By the way, I'm a big brother, and it's the opposite way. Okay. If you had a brother, you would probably play as Tails. But that's not the point. The point is that the game was just overall a better version of the first game, which should be what a sequel is, a better version of the original. Overall, the soundtrack, the level design, much better than the first game. By the way, I know all of you remember this one zone, which is Chemical Plant Zone. Don't worry, I suffered through it too. Okay. And then, as Nintendo produces games, Super Mario Bros. 1, Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Sega said, okay. They released Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And what's cool about this game is that you had 2 cartridges to put in. If you want to play as Knuckles, you had to buy it separately, which is, I think, one of the first forms of not DLC, extra content. I don't know how you would say it, but at the time, a lot of kids thought it was cool. Like, oh, you put 2 things together like Legos, and then you can play with them on screen. It's just so fascinating at the time. But nonetheless, the game was just, I can't even describe it. It's even better than the original game, and some people even swear by this game. In the Sonic community, the classic diehard fans are split into 2 groups. Excluding the first game, because nobody really is a fan of the first game. They're usually fan of the second or third game. The 2 groups were split into 2. The first group, it is the Sonic 2 fans, which some people would describe the casual fans, quote unquote casual fans, and then Sonic 3, the hardcore, die-hard Sonic fans that would play every single Sonic game, which is not the case, but I liked Sonic 2 much more